The first notification came at 2:17 a.m., a sharp ping that sliced through the silence of my bedroom. My phone screen blazed with an incoming message from an unknown number. But something in my gut told me this was different. Different and dangerous. I'm Olivia Martinez, 32 years old, a child psychologist with a thriving private practice in Seattle. My life had always been about precision, about understanding the complex layers of human emotion. But nothing could have prepared me for the nightmare that was about to unfold. The message was brief, almost casual in its cruelty. Check your email. Everyone will know who you really are by morning. My hands trembled as I opened my laptop, the blue light casting an eerie glow across my bedroom. When the email loaded, my world tilted on its axis. There, spread across multiple attachments, were private photographs I had taken years ago during a vulnerable time in my life. Intimate, personal images that were never meant to be seen by anyone. And they were about to be leaked everywhere. The sender was crystal clear. Victoria Stevens, my sister-in-law. The woman who had despised me from the moment my brother Michael married me 5 years ago. Victoria had always been beautiful in that calculating way. Perfect blonde hair, designer clothes, a smile that never quite reached her eyes. She worked in corporate marketing, always networking, always positioning herself for the next big opportunity. And she had always made it clear that she thought I was beneath her brother's league. My phone started buzzing. Text messages from colleagues, friends, notification after notification flooding my screen. The images were spreading like wildfire across social media platforms. I took a deep breath. Panicking wouldn't help. Years of psychological training had taught me that emotional regulation was key in crisis moments. I needed a plan. My first call was to Michael. Despite our complicated relationship with Victoria, he was still my brother-in-law, and I needed an ally. Liv? His voice was groggy. What's wrong? Victoria leaked private photos of me online, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. And I need your help to understand why. There was a moment of stunned silence. She did what? I explained the situation, detailing the emails, the images, the rapid spread across social media. Michael's initial shock transformed into protective anger. I'll kill her, he muttered. This is unacceptable. But I knew Michael. His anger would be temporary. Victoria had always been his golden child sister, the one he protected and defended, no matter what. I need more than anger, I told him. I need evidence, because this isn't just about revenge. This is about protecting my reputation, my career, my entire life. By sunrise, my world had fundamentally changed. My practice's waiting room, usually filled with worried parents and children, was now a ghost town. Cancellation messages flooded my professional email. Colleagues were radio silent, uncertain how to engage with the scandal. But I wasn't going to be a victim. Not this time. I started methodically documenting everything. Screenshot after screenshot of the image distribution, tracking its origin, collecting digital footprints. My background in psychology had taught me about human behavior, but my growing up with a lawyer father had taught me about meticulous evidence collection. Victoria thought she knew me. She thought she could destroy me with a few leaked photographs from my past. What she didn't realize was that I had been collecting my own file on her for years. Small inconsistencies, suspicious financial transactions, hints of professional misconduct that I had carefully, quietly documented. This wasn't just going to be a fight. This was going to be a systematic dismantling of everything she thought was untouchable. By noon, I had a war room set up in my home office. Multiple screens, forensic digital tools, and a growing file that would become Victoria's worst nightmare. My phone rang. An unknown number. Enjoy the show. Victoria's voice was dripping with smug satisfaction. I said nothing. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response. Not feeling chatty, she pressed. Thought you'd be begging me to stop. Are you finished? I asked quietly. Her laugh was sharp. Just getting started. Little did she know, so was I. The first phase of my counterattack was about to begin. Victoria had declared war, thinking she held all the cards. She was about to learn that some opponents are most dangerous when they're backed into a corner. And I was far from cornered. I was just getting started. The next 48 hours became a strategic chess match of information and preparation. Victoria thought she had delivered a knockout blow, but I was about to show her the true meaning of calculated revenge. My first move was to contact Daniel Rodriguez, a digital forensics expert I'd worked with on a previous legal case involving online harassment. We'd met during a professional workshop on child protection, and his expertise in tracking digital footprints was legendary in legal circles. This isn't just a simple photo leak, I explained during our emergency video call. This is a targeted attack designed to destroy my professional reputation. Daniel's fingers flew across his keyboard. Give me access to your devices and full permission to investigate. By evening, he had begun tracing the origin of the leaked photos. What Victoria didn't know was that these weren't just random images. They were carefully time-stamped, geotagged digital artifacts that would tell a more complex story. Meanwhile, I reached out to my network of professional contacts. Dr. Elena Martinez, the head of the child psychology department at the local university and my mentor, was the first to offer support. Take a breath, Olivia, she advised. Your reputation isn't built on a few leaked photographs. It's built on years of dedicated work and professional integrity. Her words were a lifeline. I knew the psychological warfare Victoria was waging, designed to isolate me, to make me feel ashamed, to destroy my confidence. But shame was a luxury I couldn't afford. My brother-in-law, Michael, was less strategic. I'm going to confront her, he insisted during a heated phone call. This is unacceptable. No, I stopped him firmly. That's exactly what she wants. An emotional reaction that makes me look unstable. By midnight, Daniel had uncovered something intriguing. The photo leak wasn't just a random act of malice. There was a sophisticated digital trail suggesting professional-level manipulation. Someone helped her, Daniel explained. These aren't just uploaded photos. There's evidence of sophisticated routing, IP masking, and coordinated distribution. The plot was thickening. My investigation into Victoria's recent activities revealed a pattern. She had been struggling professionally. Her last 2 marketing contracts had been terminated. Rumors of unethical behavior were circulating in her professional network. And now, suddenly, she had launched this calculated attack on me. I began connecting the dots. Victoria had always been threatened by my success. While I built a respected psychology practice working with vulnerable children, she saw herself as the family's professional success story. My work was meaningful. Hers was about climbing corporate ladders. By day 3, the digital forensics revealed something shocking. The photos had been digitally manipulated, subtle alterations that made them appear more compromising than they originally were. She spent money on this, Daniel confirmed. Professional-level editing. This wasn't a quick revenge plot. This was a planned attack. My next move would require precision. I gathered documentation, every recommendation letter, every professional achievement, every piece of evidence that demonstrated my character and professional integrity. A meeting was arranged with the state's psychological licensing board, not as a plea, but as a proactive defense. I would control the narrative before Victoria could twist it further. These are fabricated images, I told the board representatives, presenting Daniel's forensic report, deliberately altered to cause maximum psychological damage. What Victoria didn't know was that I had been quietly collecting information about her own professional misconduct, small ethical breaches, questionable client interactions, financial irregularities in her marketing contracts. My weapon wouldn't be emotional outrage, it would be methodical, documented truth. By the end of the week, the tide was shifting. The initial shock of the photo leak was giving way to questions. Why would someone go to such lengths to destroy a respected child psychologist's reputation? My phone rang. An unknown number. Enjoying your little investigation? Victoria's voice was less confident now. Not an investigation, I replied calmly. A reckoning. The pieces were almost in place. Victoria had declared war, thinking she could destroy me with a few manipulated photographs. She was about to learn that attacking me was the biggest mistake of her life. The final act was about to begin. The final confrontation was going to be strategic, calculated, and devastating. I chose the location carefully, a neutral conference room at a downtown Seattle law firm. My digital forensics expert Daniel, my mentor Dr. Elena, and my brother Michael would be present as witnesses. Victoria would walk into a trap of her own making, completely unaware of the evidence we had meticulously gathered. The invitation was simple. A formal request for a mediation meeting regarding the recent photo leak, carefully worded to pique her curiosity and sense of professional pride. When Victoria walked into the conference room, her perfectly tailored navy suit and designer heels screamed confidence. But I could see the micro-expressions of doubt flickering beneath her carefully constructed facade. "I assume this is about settling the little misunderstanding," she said, sitting down with a condescending smile. Daniel placed a folder on the table. Inside were comprehensive digital forensics reports, bank statements, and communications that would unravel her entire scheme. "This isn't about settling," I said quietly. "This is about exposure." The first blow came swiftly. Daniel presented evidence of how the photos were professionally manipulated, tracing the digital fingerprints to a private editing service Victoria had paid for specifically to create these images. "These aren't just leaked photos," Daniel explained. "These are carefully constructed digital weapons." Michael, who had always been protective of Victoria, looked stunned. The perfect family narrative was crumbling in real time. But we were just getting started. The next layer of evidence revealed Victoria's professional desperation. Her marketing firm was on the brink of collapse. She had been losing clients, facing potential legal action for unethical practices, and was drowning in mounting financial pressures. "You needed a distraction," I said, sliding bank statements across the table. "Something to draw attention away from your own professional failures." Her confident facade began to crack. Dr. Elena detailed the psychological impact of such targeted harassment. "This wasn't just a personal attack," she explained. "This was a calculated attempt to destroy a professional reputation, potentially causing long-term psychological trauma." The final piece of evidence was the most devastating. We had uncovered a series of communications showing Victoria had been planning this attack for months. Client complaints, financial investigations, and a trail of digital breadcrumbs that painted a damning picture of her true character. "You thought destroying my reputation would save yours," I said softly, "but you've only accelerated your own downfall." Victoria's composure shattered. Tears, anger, desperate pleas, she cycled through every emotion, trying to find a way out. But there was no escape. The legal implications were clear. Criminal harassment charges, potential civil lawsuits, and professional sanctions were now inevitable. Her marketing career was effectively over. Michael, torn between family loyalty and the truth, looked defeated. "Why?" he asked his sister. "Why would you do this?" The truth came pouring out. Years of feeling overshadowed, of believing she was always second best, of watching me build a meaningful career while she struggled with superficial success. "You always looked so perfect," Victoria whispered. "Always the good one. The one everyone respected. But perfection wasn't the goal. Impact was." The meeting concluded with a clear message. Victoria would face legal consequences. She would issue a public apology. And she would never again attempt to harm my professional reputation. In the weeks that followed, my practice not only recovered but grew stronger. The transparency of how I handled the situation became a testament to my professional integrity. Clients who had initially pulled back now came forward with increased support. My licensing board not only cleared me but commended my handling of the situation. Victoria's world, meanwhile, collapsed. Her marketing firm shut down. Her professional networks disintegrated. The very weapon she had designed to destroy me became the instrument of her own destruction. Michael and I found a difficult reconciliation. He apologized, not just for Victoria's actions, but for years of turning a blind eye to her manipulative behavior. "I should have seen it sooner," he admitted during a quiet dinner. Dr. Elena's words echoed in my mind. "Some attacks are designed to break you, but when you understand the psychology behind them, you can turn them into opportunities for growth." 6 months later, I stood in my newly expanded practice. Additional counseling rooms, a support group space for children dealing with trauma, and a renewed sense of purpose. Victoria's attempt to destroy me had ultimately helped me build something stronger. The final message was clear. You can try to tear someone down, but true integrity cannot be destroyed by manipulation. It can only be strengthened.